A new Xiaomi flagship in stunning Aurora Blue. Is this the best phone for your money? This is my Mi 10T Pro review. Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here to share my full review of the Mi 10T Pro. Now guys, it's been a saga with this phone, from waiting to receive this device to finally getting it this last Friday and then using it for the past 4 days. And this device is easily probably the most beautiful flagship phone that I've ever tested. With this gorgeous Aurora Blue back, it is absolutely stunning, and yet despite that, there's one decision Xiaomi made on this phone that I wonder if it truly was the right one to make. But at €599 starting price, is this Mi 10T Pro worth your money? Let's go down the laundry list, guys. Design, display, performance, quick audio test, sharing my camera samples. We'll wrap up with some PUBG, and then I'll give my final verdict. Is this most beautiful flagship of 2020 truly worth your money? Let's have a look. Design. 9.3 millimeters, 218 grams. So it is a pretty hefty device, but honestly, compared to the K30 Pro and even the 11 Pro Max, which I use on the daily, this phone is still lighter. And in terms of design, let's talk about this back, the Aurora Blue. It is one of the most stunning looks on a phone that I've ever seen. With this gorgeous radial blue color, it is easily one of my favorite aspects of this phone. And taking a tour of the phone, we have this nice flattened top edge and a little hole for the speakers. Here you see your volume rocker and your power button, which also doubles as your capacitive side-mounted fingerprint scanner. You have your SIM tray, USB-C, speakers, and mic. And what an aluminum edge it is. Guys, this really is one of the sleekest looking devices that I've ever used from Xiaomi, and I don't even mind the camera module on the back with the giant 108 megapixel camera. Here you see it next to the Mi 10 Ultra, and it does remind me of this kind of styling, a very large rectangular camera module on the Mi 10T Pro. And here you can see the bottom bezel. It is a little bit larger than some of the other phones I've recently tested. Here's the K30 Ultra, for example. It's quite a bit smaller, and here's the bezel next to the Mi 10 Ultra. I'd say it's about a millimeter larger than these bezels on these phones. And at the top, we have a pretty small bezel with a left-placed punch hole, which I think looks pretty good overall. Overall design, guys, is really impressive. It's all about this Aurora Blue back, the Sleeping Beauty phone, and I'm so glad I got this color to test out. Easily one of the most stunning designs of any phone I've tested this year. Display, 6.67-inch IPS LCD display, and the hero spec here is definitely the 144Hz refresh rate. Now guys, there's no denying it. If you go looking for that type of ghosting that you see on LCD panels, right here at the bottom you can see that slight dimming along the edge, and if you really try to look around the punch hole, you will see it as well. Even around the entire edge of the phone, there's a slight dimming here on the display, but what I do notice is that it's very uniform, and I truly think that Xiaomi is using probably one of the best LCD panels on any phone here to date. Now, I did have a chance to compare this LCD display to what I consider one of the best LCDs on the market, the iPhone 11. And both actually have very similar properties, great white points, really awesome viewing angles, and overall I think represent the best that LCD has to offer in 2020. Now for me personally, it really is going to be hard after having used AMOLED for so long. And there are many benefits to AMOLED in my opinion, like deeper blacks, a higher contrast ratio, and also features like always on display, which you just can't do here on LCD. But despite that, guys, if Xiaomi is going to include an LCD display here in 2020, I think they made the right choice by making it the highest refresh rate possible. And during the daytime hours, I definitely enjoy this display. It is super smooth and super color accurate. And if you're one of those people out there who does value LCD displays, I think you will like this panel quite a lot. It's probably the one spec of this phone that I wish was different, but all in all, I gotta hand it to Xiaomi. They have at least put the best LCD panel that I've ever seen on a phone here on this Mi 10T Pro. And here's YouTube playback on the Mi 10T Pro. And honestly guys, this offers one of the most immersive experiences I've seen on a phone this year. Yes, the bottom bezel could be a little bit smaller, and of course, you'll still have a punch hole, but I still think this punch hole is in the best possible spot for viewing content, and with a solid dual speaker experience and HDR10 Plus support, this Mi 10T Pro is going to offer you a great viewing experience with any content you watch on this phone. And in DRM Info, also good news, L1 here on board the Mi 10T Pro, and this should be the case for the entire Mi 10T series, as these are global releases from Xiaomi, so it's an L1 party here on the Mi 10T Pro. And now talking about performance, one of the strengths of this phone is easily the included Snapdragon 865 processor, and alongside the Poco F2 Pro and the Mi 10 series, this Mi 10T Pro is offering flagship 2020 level performance in a phone. Same goes for the Geekbench scores, very much in line with the scores we've seen from other 865 phones. And looking at Android Bench, we see really solid scores here on the Mi 10T Pro, and given the fact this phone is using 8 gigs DDR5 RAM and 256 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage, you're going to have all the specs you wanted in a phone in this Mi 10T Pro. And it's all powered here by MIUI 12 version 12.0.6. And so far, guys, I've had a pretty solid experience with this Mi 10T Pro using this software. Now, I will say MIUI 12 has been a bit buggy in my experience, especially on a number of phones. But now I can say that this Mi 10T Pro joins the Mi 10 Ultra as the smoothest experience of MIUI 12 on a phone. And overall, it's a super fast, super zippy experience. Apps load very quickly, and it's super fast and super responsive. And 5G performance has also been really great, with apps loading up very quickly. But I will say the ads are still visible here. Here's a great example of a typical ad you'll see when you are downloading apps from the App Store with this phone. Now, the good news is ads in system apps can be removed. Now, Xiaomi's been using ads in their phones for a long time, and on phones maybe like the Poco X3 NFC, it's a bit more forgivable given the price, but it is something you'll need to keep in mind, especially when you're buying a top-end phone like this Mi 10T Pro. You will still see ads in a number of areas of this phone. And talking about battery life, we have a 5,000 mAh capacity on this Mi 10T Pro with 33 watt fast charging on board. This phone is a battery champ, easily lasting me over 9 hours of screen on time using both Wi-Fi and 5G. And then this phone topped up in just over 1 hour, 65 minutes. And so given the battery capacity and how quickly this phone tops up, I think you have a really solid battery performer here in the Mi 10T Pro. And talking about the fingerprint scanner and vibration motor, and it is super fast, super responsive. Now, the animation does take a little bit of time to get into, but overall it's a good implementation of this technology. Now you guys know how I feel about side-mounted fingerprint scanners. They're not my favorite because I am left-handed, but I guess I've gotten used to using my index finger now to unlock this phone. And talking about the vibration motor, Xiaomi, bravo, because the haptic feedback on this Mi 10T Pro is one of the best that I've used all year. From the vibrations of the keyboard to just the small touches of vibration all around the system, it is easily one of the best aspects and most flagship level aspects. I think it's even better than the vibration motor on the Mi 10 Pro. Xiaomi, bravo, you've included one of the best haptic experiences on any phone here in this Mi 10T Pro. Alright, and here's the audio speaker test on the Mi 10T Pro. Dual firing speakers on this phone. Let me point the mic forward. Let's have a listen. What can I say? A really solid audio experience here on the Mi 10T Pro, but the sound quality I'd say is a step behind what I hear on the Mi 10 Pro. A solid dual speaker experience though. I would give this an 8 out of 10 in terms of audio quality. And talking about cameras, we have that same 108 megapixel that we see on the Mi 10 series f1.7, and then we have a 13 megapixel f2.4 ultra wide and a 5 megapixel f2.4 macro. Now, what's the sensor here that's missing from the Mi 10 Pro? It's the telephoto lens. And so that basically means you're not going to have any of that kind of periscope zoom or optical zoom that you see on a number of other Xiaomi phones on this Mi 10T Pro. But what you will have is an OIS-enabled main camera alongside flagship-level video taking capabilities like 8K at 30 FPS and 4K video up to 60 FPS. And on the front, we have a 20 megapixel f2.2 selfie camera capable of full HD 30 FPS video. And now I thought to myself, what would be the best subject matter for a quick tour of the Mi 10T Pro when it's taking shots? I bring you Aurora herself, Sleeping Beauty here to take the shot. Smile for the camera, Sleeping Beauty. This is my daughter's, by the way, guys. It's not mine. Really fast shutter here on the Mi 10T Pro, and with a lot of natural bokeh as you can see right here, it takes really stunning shots with this 108 megapixel main camera. Have a look at these samples and these video samples and hit me up in the comments, what do you think? And this is rear-facing video on the Mi 10T Pro, shooting in 4K 30 FPS. Pretty gorgeous day here in Hong Kong. Stabilization looks great. But hit me up in the comments, what do you think? And this is front-facing video on the Mi 10T Pro, Full HD, 30 FPS, if I'm not mistaken. Hope you guys are doing well, having a great weekend. And here's some front and back video on the Mi 10T Pro. Definitely a cool feature to be able to kind of vlog and share your perspective both front and back. All in all, guys, this is a flagship level experience, and I would put this camera experience right up there next to the Mi 10 in terms of overall performance and output. And here we are, guys, with PUBG Mobile on the Mi 10T Pro, and now sharing with you guys the settings I'll be playing at Ultra HD, which includes 4K building textures and water reflection effects. How exciting. Here we see the frame rate, Ultra. I've chosen Realistic, turn on water reflections, and if you turn on water reflections, anti-aliasing immediately turns off, turn on shadows, and off with auto adjust graphics. Okay, and let's get started. And it's time for the classic Frankie Tech swim test. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Woo! Oh yeah. And look at those reflections. Absolutely stunning. And at the plane jump with the Adreno 650, absolutely smooth, no stutters. Let's get down to the surface, get some guns, get some action. Now, funny enough, my gameplay yesterday wasn't the greatest, so hopefully I'll have a better game here this second time round. And so far, really incredible levels of detail here. Looks like there's some action up ahead. Take that. Booyah! First kill on the Mi 10T Pro. And I also have the CPU monitor on. Here you see 46 degrees Celsius. The Mi 10T Pro is still cool to the touch. And I found one of my teammates. What's up, buddy? What are you doing? And I see the airdrop coming down. Let's see if I can get there before they do. And will you look at that? The level of detail is just absolutely stunning. I gotta stop for a second and just appreciate, guys, this is on a smartphone that we are playing this game with this level of detail. This is console level quality that I'm seeing here. Really impressive. Oh, they're shooting at me. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, and that happened just as quickly as it did in yesterday's gameplay. So we are now in spectate mode here. Why do I always get killed so quickly and so suddenly. But anyway, sharing one last time here, looking at the CPU monitor, 51 degrees Celsius, but this is the most level of detail I've ever seen in a PUBG gameplay, and you're going to have a really incredible and very richly detailed experience here on PUBG Mobile on the Mi 10T Pro. So that's it for this video and my final verdict on this Mi 10T Pro. When this phone was announced, I was really excited about it, and finally having it in hand, I think this Mi 10T Pro has really delivered in many key areas, from the gorgeous design to rock solid performance, great audio quality, flagship camera experience, and Xiaomi is offering one of the best flagship experiences right here in this Mi 10T Pro. And yet let's answer this question. Is the lack of an AMOLED display on this phone really a deal breaker? Especially when Xiaomi has been delivering phones like the K30 Ultra that are able to offer a very similar refresh rate experience. And guys, there's no denying it, I still do prefer AMOLED displays, and Xiaomi has delivered that on phones like this K30 Ultra at really good prices. And yet for some reason on this Mi 10T Pro, the entire experience, all the other things of this phone really outweigh the fact that it is using an LCD display technology. This LCD is easily one of the best that I've seen on any smartphone, even surpassing I think the one that we see on the iPhone 11. Now it will be interesting to see if in future releases Xiaomi sticks to this strategy of using high refresh rate LCD displays on their phones. But honestly guys, given the battery longevity and just the overall experience of using this phone, it is a buttery smooth 144Hz refresh rate, and just given the fact that this phone is so well rounded in every other way means that I can really overlook the fact that this is using an LCD display. It may not be for everyone, but for all you guys out there who actually prefer LCDs, you may have the best option that Xiaomi has ever released. But it's more than just that, guys. You're easily getting one of the most well-rounded and balanced flagship experiences on this Mi 10T Pro. And if you can pick up this phone in this gorgeous Aurora Blue, I highly recommend it. Easily one of the most stunning backs on any phone, and quite possibly the most beautiful flagship phone that I've ever tested here on Frankie Tech. But hit me up in the comments. What are your thoughts on this Mi 10T Pro? And do you think this phone could serve your needs as one of the best flagship devices that Xiaomi has released this year? Hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for future updates. Wow, what a ride it's been reviewing this device. But hope you've enjoyed this full review of the Mi 10T Pro. Thanks once again to Xiaomi for sending this one out. And stay tuned for more great upcoming content, more great comparisons, and other videos coming soon. So that's it, and this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech, signing off. Have a good one.